What is up, my Eggy peeps? Budman here, coming at you from Studio 2A to do what this channel is all about, an Eggy review for you. If you're wondering how the channel got its name, that's how. E-R-F-Y, Eggy reviews for you. And that's what I was inspired to do at the very beginning, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So, we're talking about Buffalo, December 27th, Electric City. The first show of a 4-show New Year's Eve run, and it was a banger, like they always are. You know, it's kind of hard sometimes to do reviews of a band that never disappoints, that's always good, that always comes out with new stuff, and is always being creative. So, without further ado, let's do it anyways, right? The place, Electric City, a little bit bigger than the last place they played there. They used to do a place called Ironworks, where there have been a couple of pretty legendary jams. But Electric City didn't disappoint. A very large venue. There was a Lion King show right next door in the big theater that's there. There was like giant like Broadway theater right next door, and lines of people waiting to get in, and a whole bunch of Eggy folks in the smoking area right outside. There's like a fenced-in area right next to where everybody was standing, and you know that there was many families standing there going, "What's that smell? What's that smell?" So, anyways, the band did a one-set, like 90-minute one-set burner, and then came out for an encore. And so there was an opening band. From memory, I think this is where Everwine played. I do have a sticker that says, "Who the F is Everwine?" I put it on my little camera box to remember. So there's that. They were good. Definitely easy to sit through, and some pretty high-intensity jamming. But I'm here for Eggy. So they opened up with A Moment's Notice, which is one of their newer songs. This is like one of the eggiest Eggy songs there is. You know, it talks about, you know, I mean, just off the top of my head, I don't know the lyrics by heart, but it just reminds me of the value of life, right? And so that was a great opening song, and it was, I think, 10 or 12 minutes. I think I have it written down somewhere. I'll look in a minute. But then they went into a Sweaters for Strawmen, which is a classic, like, staple Eggy song, oldie but a goodie. Never a disappointment when that's in there. People can sing along at it with this point. But it was short. It was only like 5 or 6 minutes. Then they did Way of the Stone. Now, let's talk about Way of the Stone for a minute. This song is a song that I've listened to more times than I want to admit. And I like it. It's not, I don't know if I want to say it's not one of my favorites, because there's no really song I don't like. I don't know that I would put it in a dream set that I might build. Although the jams in this song, kind of like Shallow Rivers, two songs that I kind of equate a lot alike in my mind, are thoughtful songs, and then the jams are like these journeys that you go on, you know. But so Way of the Stone was 13 minutes, incidentally 13 minutes, 31 seconds. So no matter how you look at it, that's like a numerical palindrome or whatever you want to call it. But that was a big, like, soaring, you know, out into space and back kind of a jam with the tempo changes and just all this interaction, you know, and Jake just taking us away. But then they came into a jumpin' jack flash. Now, I've always wanted, whenever the band plays a song like that, or like, you know, a Phil Collins song or something like that, or one of these other, even the Little Feat songs and stuff, what is it like, Pink Floyd, what is it like to be that good that you can play a song like that as good or better than the originals? Like, Jake, what is it like to lay it down as good as Keith Richards? And Mike, what is it like to be putting Ron Wood's, you know, up for a challenge, right? I think that's who the bass player was for that anyways. So that Jumpin' Jack Flash was really got the crowd like bumping, like, wow, like this is like an ending of a set song, and we might have been probably an hour into it. So I think this is where people were, and when it hit, people were like grabbing each other on the shoulders and stuff like, yeah, Jumpin' Jack Flash, a song that they could dance to and sing to and everybody knew. Although I bet you there were people in the crowd that were young enough to think that was an Eggy original. But I digress. And incidentally, in this run, that my wife and I hit our 80th show. So when people might ask, who is this guy and why is he reviewing Eggy? I've seen a bunch of shows, and so I love the band, and I just like to talk about them. So where I want to go with this, though, is that Jumpin' Jack Flash was just the on-ramp for a West LA fadeaway that was like 9 minutes long, that was just this like, I mean, oh man, I don't know how to put it. Like, I had so many visuals during that song. This was, the first of 4 nights, and so some of it is a little bit hard to remember, but I do remember saying to myself, like, Mike is walking the elephants, and it was all Jake, no break at one point. And I had a couple other like things in my head during that song that were just, man, it was just so appropriate, and they did it as good as I've ever heard it. Yeah, I'll even, somebody's got to call balls and strikes, and Eggy is doing cover songs better than the originals did. There it is. I said it. You'll see me at the next show. Fight me on it if you want, but that's my stance. So that Jumpin' Jack Flash, West LA fadeaway, they came back into Jumpin' Jack Flash for like maybe a minute and a half or a couple of minutes, and then wound it down, and there was a Lake Monster in there. So Lake Monster is cool. I feel like it's something that, I've got kind of a theory I'm cooking up that now that it's going to be public, the band will probably find out about it and make sure it's not true. But it seems like that song is a proximity song to water sometimes. But I don't even really want to put that out there because it's probably just crazy talk. That Lake Monster, though, is some people know it really well. There was a few people in the crowd that were singing along with it. It has a very kind of a lilting, walking down the sidewalk kind of a sound, and then all of a sudden it goes into this like changing, screaming, smashing, hardcore kind of thing before it comes back out again. Can be very transformative live. This one wasn't that long. However, it set the stage for an epic 30-minute Sweat Equity. And I just realized that I forgot this whole time that I was supposed to be using this. So here's what we're going to do. It was Buffalo. $12.27. And I don't want to use dry erase markers. Here's what you need to know about Buffalo. Okay? 30-minute Sweat Equity. Okay, that, my friends, is some epic peak Eggy right there. The song itself reminds me of a little bit of Dolly Parton 9 to 5 with a little bit of J.J. Cale's After Midnight thrown in. The lyrics are fantastic. They're very relatable. I think a lot of people feel that blue-collar vibe that the band puts out when they're earning their chops or earning their street cred or whatever it is they're earning right now, putting in their Sweat Equity. 30 minutes was an epic, just no holds barred jam, and they left the crowd wanting more, believe it or not. So after that, here's the other thing you need to know about the Buffalo show. was the encore, was sounds like. So here's something I found. They do this cover, Remind Me, right? And it starts off so similar to Time Escaping that half the time the crowd can't tell which one it is. And I had people telling me it was Time Escaping, and I thought it was too, and it ended up being Remind Me, and then it was Time Escaping a couple of times in the past several shows, so wasn't sure this time, but it ended up being Time Escaping, and it was a nice 13-minute Time Escaping. Time Escaping. To me, goes hand in hand with songs like A Moment's Notice. You know, the West LA Fadeaway. Waiting Game was in this. I didn't write that. I didn't talk about that. Waiting Game was in here. I was lucky enough to see Waiting Game the first time it was debuted. Everybody that knows me is probably tired of this story, but it was at the Basement the second night, May 6th. They came out. Mike was not in the group when they came out to do this song. They were all wearing their white pants from when they were doing the recording a while back, and they did this acoustic Waiting Game. I had gotten a nod from CJ that tonight was the night, and so I didn't know what he meant, but that was it. So the Waiting Game now, fully developed, is this song list, Buffalo song list. I feel like it had, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it, but if you look at these songs, I'm not sure what was going on there, if it was just chance, and I can't actually verbalize what the underlying theme was, but man, there was something going on there with Waiting Game, Time Escaping, Moment's Notice, West LA Fadeaway, you know, The Way of the Stone. I mean, the Jumpin' Jack Flash, I don't know how that fits in. And then, you know, Sweat Equity and Sweaters for Straw Men are just kind of like, you know, meat and potatoes that should be in any given show. But with that, I digress. I don't want to be too long. What we got coming up right here. So don't forget, Treehouse this weekend, Friday and Saturday, the 10th and 11th. Do your reconnaissance on this place. It's a great place to see a show. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. With that, Mayor Bud from Studio 2A, the Magnet Command Center. Eggy reviews for you, Buffalo 1227. Peace out.